Hey, it's your boy Agri History here, and today we'll talk about strawberries. Strawberries are a group of species in the genus Fragaria. The commercial species grown are Fragaria annessa, Fragaria chiloensis, Fragaria virginiana, Fragaria vesca, and Fragaria moschata. Fragaria vesca, alongside Fragaria moschata, had its heyday in production during the 1500s and the 1600s in Europe before being supplanted. But what is the origin of these species? Let us first talk about the natural history of these species. Based on current genetic analysis, a great many Fragaria species have undergone allopolyploidy. Allopolyploidy is when two species of a genus crossbreed, and this results in the total number of chromosomes doubling. For example, two diploids with two sets of chromosomes each could crossbreed, creating a tetraploid that has two sets of chromosomes from each species. This happens in strawberries because often the pollen and egg cells are often unreduced, allowing this type of crossbreeding to happen. There also seems to have been crossbreeding where the chromosome number did not increase as well. We will be covering the above-mentioned species and their origins, all sources below. The diploid species, Fragaria vesca, seems to have arisen from crossbreeding between two species, Fragaria manchuria and Fragaria buchareka. The hexaploid species, Fragaria moschata, seems to be a mix of Fragaria manchurica, Fragaria vesca, and Fragaria viridis. The two octoploid species, Fragaria virginiana and Fragaria chiloensis, seem to have formed through crossbreeding between Fragaria vesca and extinct relatives or ancestors of another species called Fragaria inumae. Now that the natural history is covered, let's talk about the breeding history of strawberries. The place to start is Fragaria chiloensis. Within Chile, there is an area called Biobío, where the native people cultivated this species for 1,000 years. These were eventually brought over to Europe, and France specifically. The wild species Fragaria virginiana was brought over from Canada and the United States, likewise to Europe and France. This wild species wound up supplanting the previous European species utilized. The cultivated varieties of the Chile strawberry were specifically brought over from Chile to France via a spy named Captain Amdi Fraser. Unfortunately, the Chilean strawberry was negatively received due to the plants being barren in fruit. This is because the spy unfortunately only brought back female plants. A solution was found, however, thanks to the help of many French botanists. They discovered that you can pollinate Chilean strawberries with Fragaria virginianum and Fragaria moschata and make the plants produce fruit that way. The Chilean strawberry reached its peak in the mid-1800s, and by that point, the Chilean strawberry was cultivated more in France than its native land. As time went on, however, unusual seedlings began to appear within this area of France, alongside other gardens with unique combinations of fruit and morphological characteristics. It was later discovered that these plants were hybrids of the Chilean strawberry and Fragaria virginiana. This plant was named Fragaria ananassa, which is the common strawberry we consume today. It received this name because the early varieties smelled like pineapple. It is not clear where the first hybrids appeared, but they must have arisen in the commercial fields of Brittany and other botanical gardens across Europe. Formal strawberry breeding was initiated in 1817 by Thomas Andrew Knight, the most famous fruit breeder in Britain at that time. He mastered the strawberry breeding by crossbreeding many varieties of Chilean strawberry and Fragaria virginiana. He produced the famous at that time Downtown and Elton cultivars, noted for their large fruit, vigor, and hardiness. Later on, Michael Keane, a market gardener near London, also became interested in strawberry breeding and bred Keane's Imperial, which was used to breed Keane's Seedling. Keane's Seedling is in the lineage of many cultivars, and this variety dominated the strawberry acreage for close to a century. Not bad for a gardener, huh? Thomas Laxton of England was the most active breeder during the latter part of the 18th century. He bred many varieties of strawberry, including Noble and Royal Sovereign. These cultivars were grown on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean and were popular until the middle of the 20th century. Noble was known for its earliness, cold hardiness, and disease resistance. Royal Sovereign was popular because of its earliness, productivity, flavor, attractiveness, and hardiness. Charles Hovey produced the first important North American cultivar of strawberry called Hovey by crossing the European pineberry with a native clone of Fragaria virginiana. He bred that new variety. This strawberry cultivar became the first variety of fruit to come from an artificial cross. And for a while it made strawberry the most important fruit crop in the country. In California, Albert Etter bred a dozen of different varieties of strawberry using California-bred cultivars of the Chilean strawberry. His most successful variety was called Ettersburg 80, which was widely grown in California, Europe, New Zealand, and Australia. It was later renamed Huxley and was still popular until 1953. Ettersburg 80 was extremely drought tolerant and had good dessert quality due to its bright red coloration, making it suitable for jams and fresh eating, and was unusually hardy for a California-bred strawberry. While its cultivars were very successful, they have had their greatest impact in breeding. Most California strawberry cultivars have Etter strawberries in their pedigree. In the middle of the 20th century, a number of active breeding programs emerged in Scotland, England, Germany, and Holland. Robert Reed developed a series of strawberry cultivars that are resistant to the red steel disease, using the cultivar Aberdeen as a source of resistance. His cultivar Auchencruve Climax dominated the acreage in Great Britain and Northern Europe until its demise due to June yellows in the mid-1950s. He then bred Red Gauntlet and Talisman to be replacements for the lost cultivar. In England, a breeder with the last name Boyle produced a large series of varieties with the prefix Cambridge. Cambridge Favourite, which was bred in the 1950s, became the most important cultivar by the 1960s. In Germany, R. von Senbusch produced the Senga series of strawberries, which included Singana, which became important in the production of strawberries for Poland and Eastern European countries, and remains important to this day. In Holland, H. Kronenberg and L. Wassenaar bred several cultivars, of which the cultivar Gorilla had the biggest impact. Going back to the United States, a major strawberry breeder known as George Darrow came to the USDA in Beltsville, Maryland in the 1920s. His first release was called Blakemore, followed by Fairfax in 1933. Many cultivars followed afterwards. Blakemore became the major southern United States variety of strawberry in the mid-1930s, and Fairfax was widely planted in the middle of the century in southern New England to Maryland, and westward into Kansas. These two mentioned cultivars were used extensively in breeding, finding their way into the ancestry of a wide range of cultivars grown in all parts of the United States. Now this part of the story is where it gets juicy, like strawberry. That's a joke. Anyways, H. Thomas and E. Goldsmith of the University of California bred the cultivars Laxton and Shasta. Shasta was widely grown in Central California in the 1950s and 1960s, due to its large size, firmness, and long season. Laxton was also grown extensively in Southern California for about the same period, prized for a short rest period and high productivity. The cultivar Shasta was ultimately used to breed one of the most important types of strawberry grown today, the day-neutral strawberries. The day-neutral trait is a trait that grants the cultivar of strawberry the ability to produce fruit year-round. This trait was bred by crossbreeding Shasta with a wild sample of Fragaria virginiana that had a day-neutral trait, and performing back crosses to create day-neutral varieties. After H. Thomas and E. Goldsmith retired from the California breeding program to start their own breeding company, Royce Bringhurst and Victor Voth took over the program and bred a large amount of important varieties of strawberry, adapted to international climates. Other breeding programs during that same time period bred many varieties. For example, in Florida, A. Ann Brooks in Florida bred Florida 90. This cultivar produced a large amount of strawberries during March and April, when all other strawberry varieties declined in southern production. The breeding duo of Miller and Hawthorne bred the varieties Clonmore, Headliner, and Daybreak. These cultivars had resistance to leaf spot and scorch alongside good shipping quality. Within New Jersey, a breeder known as J. H. Clark bred the varieties Pathfinder and Sparkle. Another breeder by the name F. A. Gilbert bred the variety Jersey Belle in 1955. In New York, George Slate bred the cultivar Catskill. This cultivar had large berries and high production. Until modern times, strawberry breeding was concentrated in the United States and Europe. Although the Japanese produced two important varieties, Dr. H. Fukuba bred the cultivar Fukuba. Fukuba was the most important cultivar in forcing culture until the early 1970s. The cultivar Kogyoku was one of the leading field-grown cultivars after World War II. It was supplanted by the American cultivar Donner in the 1950s, however. Well, that covers strawberries. Stay tuned for raspberries. Until then, stay lit, fam.